Good evening, bedheads. Click. I have to say good evening because this is coming out in the evening, but I could not go by without sharing my bedhead this morning. Look at this bouffant I have. It's amazing. So, welcome. Go get your whatever you drink in the evening and join me for this conversation. So, I'm wrapping down. Is that the right way to say that? No, I don't, I'm wrapping up. I'm wrapping down. I'm wrapping down. That's funny. I'm wrapping up this little series that I've been doing that started with a journal entry. Um, and I've come to some conclusions and I'm ready to wrap it up. But so this is like part 4. So if you're interested, maybe go back and watch part 1, 2, and 3. And you'll find them just if you go to the channel. They're basically the last videos I just recorded. Okay, so just go to videos. I think it's the very first row of videos on our homepage. And I also have a playlist called Coffee with Karen. They're in there too. So today for this video, I'm actually going to record 3 in a row. So you're going to see my nice bouffant. Because I do want to record, I want to discuss a few things. The next things I'm going to discuss have to do with comments from you guys. There's one that I want to explore a little bit, which was so fascinating. So join me tomorrow. But I look at my mug. So this is kind of where, like, what I want to talk about today is I am getting closer and closer to understanding what I need to do in order to uncover things that I thought were true that are not throughout my whole life, right? And that's kind of what we've been talking about. It's things that, we're all learning things, and we always are. We always are, and we always will be, okay? But what I want to address today, which I find really fascinating, is how many people, and it's been a small number, it's not like huge number, but every one of these videos that I've put out where I'm talking about trying to figure out the truth behind things, which means I'm talking about sketchy stuff that might have been going on the left, sketchy stuff that's going on the right, sketchy stuff that's going on in government in general or in the world or whatever, okay? That people are unsubscribing during these videos. And there's a couple conclusions that I've come to, and it doesn't bother me at all because I really, in my spiritual development over the last year and a half, I'm very much like, hey, people need to be where they need to be. You know what I mean? They need to hear they're not ready to hear what I have to say. They don't like what I have to say. But what I do find interesting is because all last year, we attracted in this community probably everybody who voted for Kamala Harris, okay? Because because I did. And see, right now, there'll be people who unsubscribe just hearing that. But don't, wait a minute. Because here's the problem with that. Well, okay, let me go back. So I would say that that's probably true because we were exploring everything we've been exploring from a spiritual perspective had to do with our concern about what we saw on the right of fascism and whatever. Okay. So we were able to build a pretty fast, we built a community because people could identify with what we were talking about. Okay. So lately I have been discussing the idea that we maybe don't want to look at sides, that is probably what they have been doing, is creating sides. Both sides of government have been creating, that's just part of their playbook. They need to keep us in division in order to do the work they are doing. Okay, that's part of the playbook. If you don't see that right now, then maybe that's the first thing you want to do is spend some time exploring that. is how they're keeping us divided and how that's to their benefit, the entire government structure, okay? Globally, not just in the US, globally, all right? So I think it's been a challenge for people who that found a place here in this community as a liberal, a leftist, whatever you want to say, who now see me coming to the middle, which I actually was center left. I am more conservative when it comes to finances. So anyways, so I've never been like far left. I am on some views. See, that's the thing is you can't, this is my issue with people like leaving because it's like, okay, they don't want to, no, there's probably multiple reasons why people are leaving. They're not ready to hear what I have to say. They don't like it. They're not interested, right? They're not interested in this conversation, which I totally get to. They just want to stay in spiritual conversation, which we've never been 100% just talking about spiritual stuff. It's been exploring the world with the dowsing rods and asking the lead team for input. So to help us, right? So what I find, what I would encourage everybody at this point, which is I'm encouraging myself, where I would love for humanity to get to, let's just put it that way. And it's one person at a time, right? Is coming to the center on understanding the world. So I'm going to talk a little bit. My title is going to be like my response to Candace and Tucker, a comment I made on both of their, because even when I mention those names here is probably people dropping off. They're like, she's listening to Candace and Tucker now. I can't, And what I find fascinating about that, what I hope we can get to because I get that actually, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but I do hope that we can get to a point where we can all listen to everybody to see what part of what they have to say resonates and what part doesn't. And that's okay. Like take what resonates and don't take the rest, because actually they have valid things to say. And the problem is what our government has done is they have made it impossible for each side to hear the other side. They've made it impossible. And here's an example. One time I sent a member of my family who is very strong Republican, and I sent him a video of Kamala Harris making some really good points. I was like, cool, he's going to get this. Right? And so he and I got into a thing because he immediately said, oh my God, I couldn't even listen for a minute. I can't stand her voice. Okay. If you're on the left, who do you feel that way about? I have said it here a number of times. I can't stand listening to Trump. Okay. I can't, if I even hear his voice. Okay. That right there is conditioning, because because here's how they've conditioned us. Let's use our critical thinking skills. They have conditioned us because whatever you've been watching over the last 50 years, okay? They have conditioned us by showing very small clips of the worst things they could say, okay? Or taking whatever they said out of context, both sides, so that it's made us completely never listen to them. Never. In fact, I literally have never listened to a full speech that Trump has given. That's not good. And people on the right have probably never listened to a full speech that Kamala gave, let's just say, or Biden or whatever, okay? Because they have conditioned us to feel, both sides have done this. This is where we have got to wake up about this. That's why I used this mug this morning. Okay. This is us and that's them. Okay. If we don't get here, it will always be us. It will always be them and then us, like totally just flopping around out here, you know? But I've been having these conversations about like trying to, I've been sharing with you guys that I am like out looking, trying to create my algorithm to give me some different stuff so I can at least explore it. Now, just because you're exploring it doesn't mean you're going to agree with what everybody says. But should you stop listening? Probably not. So this is my realization about the world for today. Okay. So if I have any, and I am actually starting one more journal for myself. Where is it? um, of all these little things I'm discovering, all the things that we've talked about in the previous videos of like, and I'm going to put this comment like in my journal, like, so I can remember the things that I'm uncovering because there's so much right now. So let me share with you. Well, I want to share a real quick comment from the community. That's kind of confirmation of what I'm feeling too. If I can find it. Hang on one second. So Cheryl and Hunt 4813, thank you for commenting. I am reading all of your comments, you guys, even if I'm not responding because I'm just reading really fast. She says, I'm like you. I've learned so many things this past year that I've entered into a completely different reality. I'm just questioning every single thing I have ever been told about everything. And currently, that's the challenge. She says, it makes me feel so off kilter. And that's exactly, I think that off kilter feeling is one we need to embrace right now. And learn, and actually the more I'm actually starting, the more clear I get about the fact that I don't know anything, the more calm I am actually feeling, because I'm not resisting the fact, like I'm not no longer resisting that I feel like I know something. I just realize I know nothing. You know that saying, the older I get, the less I realize I know, or the more I realize I don't know anything. It's so true, and it's very true about how the world has been functioning politically, And I think if we can all get to that place, we are going to realize that, what the spiritual community talks about, us all being one. And I get that from a spiritual perspective for sure. Excuse me. But we are, we all want the same things. We all want the same things. But we have to be careful about thinking the truth about stuff. And they have to be careful about they know the truth about stuff. I think if we can all get to this place where Cheryl and Hunt and I are talking about just questioning everything, just question everything. And if you do question everything, you wouldn't be so put off by somebody's voice, or you wouldn't be so put off because you'd be open to hearing what they have to say and using your discernment, and and not be, again, I just feel like we are so brainwashed from those little clips. It has to be that. It has to be, but if you find yourself needing to click away from a conversation like this, it's probably the conversation you need to stay in. You know what I mean? So people are unsubscribing, and I'm like, wait a minute. Are you just not ready for this conversation, or do you not want to hear a viewpoint that is one that you've held dear for a long time? And that's what I think we need to get to. Until we can all get to that place where we are going to stop where Cheryl is right now, of just questioning everything. I think that would be a very healthy place for all of us to be, because then we're going to start listening to each other. We don't listen to each other. Again, point and proven when people are unsubscribing from me having this conversation about just exploring the fact that maybe I don't know anything, and I'm actually open to learning from people who I haven't been open to learning from before. But let me read you a couple comments that I have left. I left one comment on Candace's video, and I left one comment on a Tucker video. They're both they have been, both of them are now realizing that they didn't know the truth, just like the rest of us didn't. But I still, you can still listen to them, but offer a different viewpoint from a loving space. Because if we don't do that, if people from other sides, in quotes, don't offer different viewpoints, then that community won't grow either. Do you see what I'm saying? So she did a video. So Candace Owens did a video on Trump recently. Okay. And I'm like, oh, I got to listen to that. And she was basically saying, the video is titled Trump Betrayed America. Okay. I agree. He has not done what he said he would do for the people who voted for him. Okay. So somebody had left her a comment and she read the comment off. I give her major kudos. She's reading comments off, like, of people who disagree with her. Right. So she read a comment off that said, well, now that you see, do you have any regrets or something? You know what I mean? About like, do you take any responsibility for basically for contributing to the many people that that are in your community, which is like, I think during that election, it was only like maybe 2 million. She had like 2 million subscribers, I'm going to say roughly. But since the Charlie Kirk thing, her subscriber views, because it's quite interesting. I mean, what she's doing with Charlie and how she's investigating it, which is, she has learned so much. Okay. Which is why she did that video about Trump betraying America. Okay. But her response back to that person about, well, how do you feel now? Like, she was like, well, we only have two sides. And that's true. We only can choose two sides, blah, yada, yada. Okay. So to me, she didn't really take too much ownership for what it is that she did back then to encourage people to vote for Trump. Okay. Okay. So I wrote as a comment, I said to her, because she then, okay, so I don't know if you know, but she did a series about Harris. And she uncovered some things, apparently, that Harris lied about. Okay, fine. Maybe Harris lied about him. People now will unsubscribe. Oh, don't talk bad about Harris. It's like, come on. All right. Go hear it first. Maybe she did. I don't know. But, if you're going to just jump away because you can't admit that Kamala Harris might have lied about something to get to her position in life, then you're not open to hearing the truth about both what is going on in the world in general, right? So this is when people tend to leave because, I voted for Harris. I mean, I was out on the street campaigning, like literally the week before, holding up signs in a stupid outfit I had on. That's a long story, but it was kind of fun anyways. So anywho, I said, so Candace said something about that series she did about Harris. All right. So I said, I say this with all love in my heart, which is true. I was not angry about this. While that's true that we only had two candidates to choose from, had a similar series that was done about Harris been done about Trump before the election, this community would have known he was a monster, which I do believe he is. And I am not saying maybe Harris is a monster too. I don't know, because I don't know the facts yet, because I have never bothered to really look at her past. But Candace did. So if you're open to hearing where your let's just say our blind spots, because they CNN or whoever you used to listen to has really made it difficult for us to not admit we have blind spots, which we do. We all have blind spots. Maybe that's a better way to say it. So anyways, I said, because if you look at the facts about Trump's history, first of all, he was treated horribly by his parents. So it makes sense when you look at his childhood why he is the way he is today. But there is a lot of facts about who he is as a person that people have ignored. They've ignored. And that's what's made, in my opinion, the left so angry. But the problem is, again, if they've been watching Fox News, you're only seeing these little clips, and you're actually getting clips of the left that shows the left just radical. And you know the word they use all the time? Radical left. We're not radical left. And again, I'm center now. I'm independent. So, but it's not radical left, and it's not a radical right. But they use that language to divide us, you know? So anyway, so I said, aren't journalists, which she says she is, okay, supposed to help their audience see all sides to help them decide which with accurate information? Now, I have had people who actually understand journalism comment, because I've made a comment like that before here, and I remember somebody saying that's not really what journalism is. So I have blind spots when it comes to journalism, but I'm just like, you know what, Candace, if you would have done the same, why didn't she just do the same series? Because she was supporting the right. That's why she didn't. But her audience, without using critical thinking skills at the time, never questioned why they didn't get the same series about Trump. They only got it about Harris. That is the problem. That is the problem. So in this community, if I'm uncovering things, I'm not going to just stay on the left or the right or whatever. If you guys watch Sabby Sab, she's actually a really good one. Sabrina, her name's Sabrina, but her channel is Sabby Sab. She's an independent as well, and she does not take sides. She is not taking sides, so it's really good. She's, but discernment. She can get, she's very opinionated still, so, discernment. So, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And you know what? We won't build as quick of a community here. We just won't, because people will join. This is how YouTube works. This is how anyone who wants to build a really huge audience works, is you've got to take a side and you've got to make people afraid of the other side. You have to. But that's why, and I didn't do that on purpose. It's just that I did take a side last year, and we were like getting thousands of people. And now I got people leaving because they're like, oh, she's not taking sides. But that's okay. I've always been authentic to who I am, and that's the way it's going to be, So it's going to confuse people, though. It's going to confuse people because they're going to be like, because we're not used to thinking this way. We are not used to we're used to thinking in sides, and we're used to taking sides. But I am no longer doing that because we're all talking out of our asses, to be honest. Here, we're all taking sides. People are unsubscribing to me because I'm not taking sides now. Oh my God, she's listening to the other side now. But at the same time, you want this. At the same time, you want this. You're talking out of both sides of your ass. You can't, you can't have both ways. You can't take a side and have unity. You can't take a side and have peace. It's impossible. Form an argument against me. Go ahead. Tell me, because I'm not seeing it right now. This is where we've got to get to. And again, like I said, this community is the growth is gonna be stunted because I'm not gonna take a side. If I see something on the left, I'm gonna call it out. If I see something on the right, I'm gonna call it out. And I'm gonna ask the SGs about it, going forward. Because And it won't mean that I'm right. It's just the things I'm looking at. But people, God, you guys, we got to stop it. And I've been the same way. I mean, admit it. You got to admit it. I'm onto something here. I didn't know I was going to be onto this, but I feel like I'm onto something. Okay, so the whole thing about journalists, okay, I don't know about that. But then I said, while I haven't watched the Harris series yet, which I will be surprised if she's been found out to be the evil narcissist that Trump has been his whole life. And then I put in quotes, in plain sight for all to see. So I put that on her because if we don't listen to other people with other views and we don't offer with love, not, these people who sit and write in, like somebody, I was watching some finance the other day, some finance video, and the woman said, well, I've canceled. Oh, I was watching a cruise video actually. And a woman, someone commented and said, well, I've canceled my cruise because I'm concerned about what's going on in the world. And someone responded to, this was the comment back, idiot. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So of course I can't not respond to that. So I said, does it make you feel better? I mean, this is not helpful either, but the way I responded was not out of love because it was annoying. But I was like, does it make you feel better to actually respond to somebody like you're a fifth grader? Sometimes I just have to put people in their place. I'm like, you don't tell someone who cancels their cruise because they're concerned about the world. Yeah, maybe you wouldn't do it, but you don't just go idiot. I mean, anyways, the division, the trying to make yourself feel better for putting people down. It's incredible how that's done on social media. So I'm sorry, but, and here's the thing, like over the last 3 months when I've just been doing spiritual and no political talk at all, we've just been doing spiritual, which has been great. I'm going to get back to that on a more regular basis. But then when we get people from all sides, right? When I did that. And that may be now that I'm talking about Trump being a narcissist, I'm sorry, but if you look at the facts, he is. Just look at the facts. If you can't look at that, then you're not helping the world. You're not helping the world because you're only willing to look at what you disagree with on the left. Okay? So that's my one comment to her. I wanted to share that with you guys. So when I mention that I'm watching Candace, that I'm not just sitting there like, oh, whatever she has to say. But she's got some damn good things to say. And not only that, but she's learning. That's the thing. She is learning. First of all, she's learning that her support of Trump was not a good idea. And she has reasons. And so her reasons are valid and worth listening to. Her reasons for not voting for Harris may be worth listening to too. So I dare you, if you've been on the left and you voted for Harris, I dare you to just go listen to her. Be brave. Just be brave. Go listen to her series on Harris and see what she dug up. Just do it. So the one thing I like about her, and I think she's way better than she was even when she probably did that series, what she's doing with Kirk. If she continues doing that, she will be a force to be reckoned with and very helpful for all of us if she continues to dig into the truth the way she's doing with the Charlie Kirk's assassination. I watched some videos of Charlie Kirk and I'm like, oh my God, it's unbelievable the shit he used to say. And I completely disagree with him. Does that mean that he didn't have some other good things to say? No, he did have some good things to say that should be considered. But the problem is we don't want to hear both sides. So we've got to start being better at that. That's where I'm going anyways. For me to be a better, citizen of the world. Okay, and my last thing I want to share is here's another example. So I don't know if you guys know this woman. I'm sorry, but her face is kind of cut off. Okay, so she apparently was Miss California and 2009 or something. I don't know. So she was on Tucker Carlson, who is another person who I'm trying to listen to, who's also trying to get to, um, and he has it. And I love it because yesterday he was on Fox News for a long time and I couldn't stand him then. I haven't listened to him at all. I've just started listening to him, different topics on finance and stuff like that, because he's bringing in some people who are talking against the government right now. And I think it's interesting. I want to hear it. So he says, I love it yesterday. There was in one interview, he said, she asked something, they were talking about one particular issue. And he said, oh yeah, I used to take a different stance on that. He goes, I can't tell you how many times I took a stance on something then that's different now. Yes, yes. That's important, you guys. That's important. So what you used to think about Tucker, he is learning. He is learning, and he is one of those people. And there's plenty of people on the left who do this. I just haven't found them yet. And like Heather Cox Richardson, awesome. I think she's more left leaning, which is fine. But I think it's better for us to find people who are just going to help us. That's what I used to think journalism was. When I watched CNN, I actually thought I was hearing the full story. And if we don't hear the full story about things, then that's just creating division. And we're never, ever going to get to this place. We're never, ever going to get to this place. And so that's where I'm going to be. And for me, I feel so much less fear now that I'm unopen to hearing both. I feel so much less fear about the world because I have met her. I'm like, oh, so Tucker does care about some of that stuff that I do. Oh, thank God. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's because I haven't been willing to listen to him. He's just one example, okay? But because I haven't been willing to listen to him, I have felt a lot of fear about what people on the right think. And we're not that far off. There's certain things we are, and I'm going to leave you with this last comment, okay? So this woman, again, I guess she won Miss California. But in her speech when she won Miss California, so she's explaining this, all right? She said in her speech, I don't know if she won or she got second place or something, but in her speech, she said that she believes that marriage should be between a woman and a man because that's her faith, okay? So fine, that's her faith, okay? Now, the problem I have, so somebody left, who, by the way, goes by Ronald Reagan. I don't know about that. I don't think, see, you got to look into Ronald Reagan before you start. I don't care, he was right, but what he did to Americans and our way of living, he was the start of, like, I would say Project 2025, Okay, so anyway, so Ronald Reagan -U1K left, he said, this is free speech, thanks Tucker, because she was saying that she got lambasted for saying that she believes marriage should be between a woman and a man, okay? And this Ronald Reagan said, this is free speech. So I said to Ronald Reagan -U1K, I totally agree. It is free speech. My only clarification is when she said the truth, because when she said marriage should be between she said, the truth is marriage should be between a woman and a man. And I said, that's not the truth. It's her truth. If she would have said my truth is between a woman and a man, people probably wouldn't have gotten so out of shape. But because she said the truth, and she said it in this interview, and Tucker didn't question her on it. So I have an issue with that. So I said again to Ronald Reagan, let me read the whole thing. I should always read I know that's probably hard. I'm very disjointed. I'll read the whole my whole response to Ronald. I totally agree. My only clarification is when she said the truth. Correction, her truth. Also, if she would have said that she believes marriage among the opposite sex, that she believes marriage among the opposite sex, would the president have given her the same treatment for speaking her truth then? All questions floating through my head. And let me explain that. Because she goes on to say that Trump then enveloped her. Trump is like, oh, you are so brave for speaking the truth. Okay. And so she goes on to support Trump because, as a public figure, because he just was so kind and gave her, all the kudos. But then because Trump really thought we needed to protect free speech. Okay, this is where I'm going with this. Trump supported her because he wanted to support free speech. So that was my point in the comment to Ronald. I said, also, if she would have said that she believes marriage among the opposite sex were true, would the president have given her the same treatment for speaking her truth, for free speech? If she got lambasted by the right, what if she had gotten lambasted by the right? Would Trump have been like, oh, good job I support free speech? No, he would not have. Okay. So I don't appreciate Ronald Reagan. He says this is free speech. Yeah, it's free speech if you say the opposite too. But I'm concerned that is how they only see, well, not they, but Ronald, and the fact that Tucker didn't question her on that. So that is what I'm doing, is speaking, I wasn't rude. I was like, all questions floating through my head. I wasn't like, oh, you idiot. La, la, la. No, we can't talk to people like that. If we talk to people like that, they're never going to hear us. So if you don't listen to other sides of things, you don't get to offer in the conversation. And how are they ever going to see things differently on both sides? If those on the right don't listen because, they can't stand their voice, don't listen to things that on the left, and you don't offer some really concrete, helpful, in love, from your heart, words of wisdom, how are they ever going to learn? Yeah. So that's what I have to say for today. Okay. Then tomorrow I want to go over a video or a comment from a community member about, we're going to have this conversation because this is so fascinating. Which means I'm literally going to stop recording right now and start talking about this. So you're going to see me in the same shirt and everything, but it is about bridge humans. So, is it Hans June or Han S. June? I'm not sure. Thank you so much for this comment. We are going to be dissecting it in the next video. So I will see you tomorrow night about what's called bridge humans. I've never heard this before, and we are going to be talking about this in light of, it's kind of a different way to see the world, and it's called bridge humans, which I think she is going to say that's what I've been talking about right now. It's starting to rain. I'm getting a little lightning out there. That's what I think I've been talking about today, and that's why I think this next conversation about bridge humans is going to be fascinating. And I might even pull out the dowsing rods for this one. We'll see. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.